I bet you don't know who this is.
Surprise, motherfucker.
What's up, guys? This is Matt. Surprise, surprise, this is not Call of Duty, nor is it Battlefield, nor is it 2K, nor is it... What's the other game that I said I was going to post? I don't even know. But this is Lego Marvel Superheroes, and I don't think I've mentioned this ever on my channel, but I have a very soft spot in my heart for Lego games. And this is the reason why. The robot. But seriously, I grew up with Lego games. You know, PS4 had Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones. I never really got into Harry Potter just because I've never found the time to watch the movies or read the books. So Harry Potter, I don't dislike it, I don't hate it. I just never got time to hang out with him. I guess I'll find time over the summer. But this is, I already said the name, Lego Marvel Superheroes. Right now this is not story at all. This is an open world, and this is what I love about I'll go ahead and say, next gen, Lego games. I know I sound like a huge ass nerd talking about Legos, but I seriously love Legos. I love them. I grew up with them. I always will love them. But yeah, for this video I'll actually just talk about, Lego. Everything Lego. I'm gonna take a step back from FPS, gonna take a step back from first person and realism, basically. This looks pretty realistic, although I'm reminded that it is a Lego game because of the familiar game screen. But Lego games, if you haven't played, if you haven't been a fan or just haven't been keeping up with Lego games, what Lego games usually do, I think they're made by Telltale Games. What they usually do is they take a series, like a movie series, like say Star Wars is pretty popular. They made a couple of Lego Star Wars movies, but they take a series like that, they make it into obviously Lego form. They make it humorous, actually, so that it appeals to all audiences. They make it humorous, comedy, stuff like that, and they split it up. They boiled the movie down to usually 6 parts, if I remember correctly. But what I'm trying to do here, is when he usually falls, like from when Iron Man usually drops to the ground, he does that cool thing that he does in the movie. And that's another thing that they do perfectly in Lego games. They take, whatever your idea of Iron Man is, whatever your idea of who Iron Man's personality is, they portray it 200% in a Lego game. Whatever your portrayal of is Pirates of the Caribbean, which is the only thing that they did right in that game. I'll talk about that later. And the music in this game is perfect. It's just so badass. It makes me feel like a superhero. But whatever your perception of who Jack Sparrow is, his personality, the way he walks, the way he talks, they did it perfectly in Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. That's what Lego games are really all about. Just whatever your favorite, movies are that are like a series, Lord of the Rings, it just gives you so much freedom, gives you the chance to play as your favorite characters. You can see them in Lego form doing their thing. It's just really fun experience to have. They obviously did, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Pirates of the Caribbean. A new thing, they didn't take the actual Batman movies. They actually made their own storyline, which Telltale Games is pretty good for stories because they obviously made The Walking Dead, which is Walking Dead, from Telltale Games. That's the one that because there's another Walking Dead, Survival Instinct, which is ass. But they make a pretty good story. The story in this game is actually really good. I'm pretty interested in it, although superhero wise I'm not really that interested in superheroes really, or Marvel. Personally, I know enough about the superheroes to know what their basic functions are, what their basic superhero what is it what their superpower is. Basically, I know what their superpower is basically, but I never really found an interest in superheroes. And this game has actually uh, gotten a little bit of interest in me. I just love Lego, and I love open world. Uh, but they usually that's what Lego games are all about. Having fun with your favorite movie characters, your favorite just characters. Um, they did a couple of movies, series like that. Uh, in terms of open worldness, it started out all right. You didn't really you didn't think that they would get this far, where like it's actual open world. Like I can play in anywhere in New York City right now. As you'll see later when I'm like flying around as Iron Man, you can see it's still kind of restricted, although you don't really feel it because the island that you're on, New York, right now is so damn big. You don't even really think about it. But let's say like Lego Star Wars. If you got the one with all 6 movies, when you're not playing the story is, the open worldness is the bar from New Hope and the backyard, which is pretty weak. Thing for Lego Indiana Jones, I played that, was actually the college. Now they did add, Lego World type thing where like it's totally unrelated to the movie. It's just like if you ever gone to a daycare and you saw a table with like Legos and kind of looks like a little world that kids can play in, Legos, basically like that, except in the video game. That was just too like I just never really got around to mess with that. But open worldness was kind of restricted. Then they came out with Lord of the Rings was probably the first. Well, actually, Batman. I think you can play around anywhere in Gotham and Lego Batman. But Lego's Lord of the Rings came out. I'm not really that big into Lord of the Rings. I do know I love that scene. Lord of the Rings has a little bit of interest in me, but when I got the game was perfect. Let me first talk about Pirates of the Caribbean so I can be more enthusiastic about Lord of the Rings. Pirates of the Caribbean Lego, that was terrible. The story, because they want you, if you love Harry Potter, they want you to play, your favorite parts of the movie. Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, this epic sword fights, that's what I want. I want to do that, and no. You know what the mission was in Pirates of the Caribbean? To go to Teodoma's house. You know the part in the movie where the Kraken hits that one boat. The people that you don't really care about, but I was about to say Will Smith. Will Turner was on it, so it was kind of like him battling that Kraken by himself almost. I want to replay that scene, but you know what? The part that you actually play, supposed to be you, playing your favorite parts of the movie, which Lego games are famous for. You're playing that not even 5 minutes, that 3-minute scene in the movie where actually Mr. Gibbs, in Dead Man's Chest, where Mr. Gibbs is like explaining, the Kraken, in that swamp going to Teodoma's house. That is a mission in the actual game, going to her house, and then the fucking Kraken that destroys the ship is a 2-second cutscene. So, and then the open world was terrible. The open world it wasn't even anything recognizable in the Pirates of the Caribbean world. Port Royal was just a fucking castle on the edge of a cliff. It was totally unrecognizable. It was just terrible. They got the character models down packed. Jack Sparrow was so funny in the actual game. His Lego form, Jack Sparrow, was really, really comical, real funny. But that was it. That was the only good thing about Pirates of the Caribbean, Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. But then Lego Lord of the Rings came out. They put in the music. They usually put in the music directly from these movies, so it's not like some cheap bootleg, music that's supposed to sound like pirate music or stuff like that. But it's the legit soundtrack from the actual movie. the voice acting from Lord of the Rings, they put that directly in there. It sounds perfect. It matches up with their, their actions, their, what you call, I guess, their body language. It was perfect. They made it comical. They made it humorous, so that it's, it's for all ages. It's for young, it's for middle age, it's for old. I think Legos are for everybody. I'm turning 18. I still love Legos, but it's for everyone. And Lego Lord of the Rings did that perfectly. They made the story perfectly. I played my favorite parts. They even that huge battle at what was it, like the beginning of the movie at Mount Doom. Now it was kind of restricted, where like the battle was going on around you, but when the orcs came at you, it still felt like you're in that massive battle. It still felt like that. And they did that with basically all of the massive battles that happen in Lord of the Rings. They did that. It was really, really good. And then the open world is the entire Lord of the Rings world. Like everything, anybody who knows like everything about Lord of the Rings, you'll have an orgasm if you play this game, because that game is perfect. It has every little detail. You think with how big Lord of the Rings world is, that if they tried to make it small, for a Lego game, since everything is kind of miniature, that it would just suck. No, they made it perfect. They made, Helm's Deep and Rohan it feels like perfect distance for the type of game that it is. It's not, cheap. It's perfect. The game is perfect. You can go all the way from Hobbiton you can go all the way from the Shire to the fucking Mount Doom. You can do that. The game is perfect. Now this is Lego Marvel. This is not actually anything taken from the stories of the movies that came out. They made a story completely up. It's actually very interesting though. But yeah, this open world is just New York. You can go through this entire island. I'm not that educated in like geography, so I don't know the different island names of New York, but you can basically go around New York. It doesn't feel restricted at all, because this city is actually very, very big. Once you explore it, you can go to Fantastic Four if you like them. You can go to Daily Bugle. You can go to what you call where the X-Men are. It's just really, really fun. You can be your favorite Marvel heroes. Their acting is on par. This game is just perfect. If you find it for cheap, get it. If you love Marvel just heroes. And that's gonna be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.